So we're starting a plan for the year. You've got your strategy now at this stage, and you're looking to really move forward, get stuck into the plan, get into the implementation, right? So a lot of great plans are all about what you must do to ensure you can achieve. And you won't get it right in the beginning. You'll have to do some tweaking and testing, measuring to continually get closer and close the gap, as I always talk about. When you don't reach your targets, what do you need to change next month to get closer and closer all the time, right? So that's all well and good when you're doing that element of the plan, but that's not all the plan should be. You need to look about what can prevent you from achieving this plan. So what are all the challenges and risks, and as we say, the Murphy's Law effect in Ireland, that can happen to prevent you on your tracks, to stop you on your tracks when you're trying your best to achieve something. Because the worst thing that can happen is you're moving forward and then something hits you and you see it as a roadblock, and then you go, I can't do this, or the business can't do this, and you're stuck, right? That happens. How do you prevent it? You do a risk mitigation, and you prepare your business for risk. You prepare for stuff going wrong. Will you get everything? Absolutely not. But you may get 80% of it, and along with that 80%, you're also going to get into that mind frame of it. Something is not a roadblock, it's just a hurdle that you can jump over or get around. And it's a big mindset and business shift to be prepared for all these things, because things go wrong. Be prepared. You have to build this into your plan. And on a business level, we do a number of things, right? So if you're talking about internally, we're talking about protecting your people, protecting your process, protecting your technology or systems, whatever you do. So how do you ensure, for example, your people stay with you, that they're growing with you, they enjoy, they believe in the dream or the vision or the strategy with you? And then how can you ensure you're going to keep these good people, that they're not going to go look for other jobs, so then you can protect your business and service your customers? So it's so important to look at that element. And then we talked about the process. How can you ensure that your process can stay consistent and improve through the course of the year? And when things go wrong, like machines breaking down, fall in communication, like being siloed, for example, and not being cross-functional, all these things, how can you mitigate these to happen? So you can capture a lot of the things and have control mechanisms in place for when they do go wrong. And then technology is the same. Technology can be really good, but it can also be really painful, because you want to win this year. You have to ensure every part of your business, people, process, technology, will complement that, not contradict. And I've seen recently in banks where bank systems have fallen down and people haven't gotten wages into their accounts. This happens on a large scale and a small scale. So that's on the internal side, but then you're talking about, well, what can I do from a business model? And I'm sure you've all done the business model scenario. So you look at a good case scenario when things go well. And then when you have a vision for a good case, well, what do we need to do between our people, our process, technology, and our customers and our suppliers to achieve that? What are the activities that cascade down to the ground to achieve that? And then you talk about a break-even scenario. Well, how do we prepare for that? What happens between suppliers, customers, and inside the business, the marketplace, to ensure that we can still keep moving forward if the economy or the marketplace isn't thriving at the time? And then also on the bad case, well, how can you protect the business when things aren't going so well? And there are the three scenarios that normally people recommend, but I want you to consider another one. That is the crisis model. We've seen this over the last 2 years with the pandemic. So many businesses have been caught out. They've done pretty much everything right, only for this wasn't planned. They didn't have this scenario ready because it just came out of the blue. Just overnight, businesses locked down, countries, demographics, everything locked down. People can't flow, supply chains can't move, everything is stuck. So how can you protect your business? What are the things you can prepare for from a supplier, from a business, from a customer perspective, to protect your business and have your finances in order, so you can have that war chest ready for when the war happens, and you have that crisis model so we know how to operate when things go badly wrong. So you can prepare so much on that. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of what can go wrong. How can you prepare for when things go wrong? Because they will. Maybe not as bad as what you planned for, but that's great. At least you're prepared. You won't get everything, but you've also, once you've done all this, you've got your business and people within your business in the mindset to be prepared. And when they're prepared, they're not stuck. They brainstorm, problem solve, and get out of this. And things can move. It makes such a difference to keep things moving, maybe slower, but it keeps them moving. And nothing is a roadblock, it's a hurdle. You can either jump around or get around. And that's really important. But then, on a personal level, what about you? How are you going to ensure that you can thrive? And how can you prevent things going wrong, or your mindset shift for when things go wrong? Because they will. Everything goes wrong at some stage. Sometimes that wrong isn't too bad, sometimes it's substantial. So what are you going to do to prepare and make sure that you can achieve what you need to achieve, either as a leader, a manager, or even if it's a personal challenge? Okay, so what are you going to do? We talked about the values and principles and the non-negotiables in a previous video. So what does that mean? Because you're going to reach crossroads and roadblocks that your principles, that your values are going to be challenged, and your non-negotiables are going to be challenged. So what are you going to do? What are you going to prepare for, so you know what to do when things go wrong? And again, it's all about brainstorming, right? And the same in business, the same in personal level. You brainstorm all these things that can go wrong and put everything on the page. And I mean everything, no matter how silly or small it is, because sometimes those silly things turn out to be big snowballs. It start off small at the top and it snowballs down into multiple issues. So never underestimate how silly something can be, and it can prevent you. So work very hard on this. And there's 3 questions I like to ask, and whether it's a business model scenario, a business risk, or a personal risk. First of all, what's the likelihood of it happening? That's the first question you need to do, and you can rate that. And then you talk about, well, what's the severity of it when it does happen? And then finally, what's the chances of it of occurring? You know, they're the 3 things that I like: the severity, the consequence, and the rate and the frequency of how it happens. And when you look at all these questions, then you can create a calculated figure on what the actual net risk is, and you can prepare accordingly. And these are really simple questions you can ask: the frequency, the likelihood, rate of occurrence, and then decide what the impact can be and plan accordingly. Simple questions, simple but effective. But do not underestimate the power of this, because then you'll be prepared for everything, even if it's not something that you've registered in your list. But then you know, well, at least I know that I have a process in place to actually get around issues, because they will happen. I hope this makes sense. If there's any questions, get in touch. Please get in touch. I'd love to help, because I want you to win. I want to win. I want you to win. Have a great day.